We are all a little depraved and debaucherous. Here is the king of podcasts.
And welcome to the Depraved and Debaucherous. This is King of Podcasts, coming to you from a very hot studio here in South Florida, USA. Now, before we get started on the program about the Brat Summer, responsibly created by the singer, songwriter, and, hyperpop diva Charli XCX, who I will just say, first of all, I think she's awesome. I think her music is great. I think her attitude, everything about her, she's a hell of a pop star. I'm a fan. And the Brat album was very good. A lot of good songs off of there when it comes to Apple or Von Dutch or 360, among others. But I'll just go along with that. Before I get started with everything else, we got to talk about a passing of one of the most influential people that really embodies the idea of depraved and debaucherous. And for those of you probably don't even know who this woman is, but I've seen her on my television screen, over 30 years. Sex therapist, Dr. Ruth Westheimer. Comedians used to go ahead and make impressions of her. She was always talked about, always on television throughout various different ways. And she is amazing. She passed away this past Saturday at the age of 96. International celebrity in the 1980s, breaking societal taboos around sex while building an empire, including syndicated TV programs, radio shows, and dozens of books. And some of the things you might not know that she thought were the most important things when it comes to sex and relationships. Sex tips. She always says that communication is key. Open and honest communication with your partner is essential for a fulfilling sex life. Focus on pleasure, not just performance. Sex should be enjoyable for both partners, not just about achieving orgasm. Don't be afraid to experiment. Explore different forms of intimacy and communication to find what works for you as a couple. Prioritize intimacy. Physical touch and affection are crucial for building intimacy and emotional connection. And embrace pleasure at any age. Sex is a lifelong journey, and a healthy sex life is possible at any age. And I think she had it down right. I was very impressed by what she used to say. And again, for someone that's an older woman that would go ahead and come on and talk about this kind of stuff, she would hit the mark, and people paid attention to her. Taken from the Associated Press as proper record. She never advocated risky behavior sexually, encouraged open dialogue on previously closeted issues that affected her audience of millions. She says, quote, that I'm still hold old-fashioned values and I'm a bit of a square. Sex is a private art and a private matter, but still it is a subject we must talk about. She was an advocate for sexual literacy. She wrote more than 40 books, including Dr. Ruth's Guide to Good Sex, demystifying sex with both rationality and humor. There's even a board game of the same name. She would be the person that would normalize the use of words like penis and vagina on radio and television, aided by her Jewish grandmotherly accent, which the Wall Street Journal once said was a cross between Henry Kissinger and Minnie Mouse. People magazine included her in their list of the most intriguing people of the century and made it into a Shania Twain song where Shania Twain's song wrote, in her song she sang, "No, I don't need proof to show me the truth. Not even Dr. Ruth is going to tell me how I feel." She stood up for gay men at the height of the AIDS epidemic in the 1980s, spoke loudly for the LGBTQ community, defended people deemed by some far-right Christians to be subhuman because of her own past. There's a lot to her story that's fascinating, obviously coming from Germany and making her way here. And I just want to go ahead and say that Depraved and Debaucherous wants to honor for all the contributions made by Dr. Ruth Westheimer. She's an important person that I believe was important in terms of all ends when it comes to supporting all and appreciating how important sex is to love, marriage, relationships, and the like. So I really think it's very important to say that. Now on to the main event, the discussion of Brat Summer. So the Guardian is the first place to go and I get something about this. Well, the long era of clean living finally over. Now, I understand that Charli XCX is, bringing a trend in front of us, and women are starting to go ahead and catch on to this. The album only came out, 3 weeks ago? And now her new album highlights how many young women currently aspire to live. So that she's not necessarily creating the trend. It's a trend that's been ongoing. She's just amplifying it. She says that a brat is a spirit or has a pack of cigarettes, a big lighter, and a stripy white top with no bra. This is Brat Summer. Not to be confused with Rat Girl Summer. It's a TikTok trend centered on living like a rat. But anyways, she talks about embodying self-love, a positive body image, healthy boundaries, relationships, and self-actualization, and of course, sultry style choices. Brat neither meaning a social media or consumer creation, but perhaps it actually means something. But right now, her album is very popular. Most recently was number 2 on the UK album chart, the official album chart, and on the Billboard Hot 200 at number 3. Now, one of the aspects of the Brat Summer is also to wear green. Slime green, they're specifically saying. And fashion houses and high-end retailers are now looking to try to find the most convincing green edit. So if you're going to a concert, you'd wear neon green. Album cover is already simple. It's in black letters, and you're getting a green color. So right now, there's no Brat merchandise. So self-made versions of it are flourishing right now, from t-shirts that are incredibly simple typeface to nail art, caps, and lighters. And the marketers out there are looking at the authenticity of the DIY vibe. So when they want to go ahead and put some adjectives behind this, they're going to say it's annoying, dirty, hedonistic, braless. And they talk about the 90s Ladette culture. That it's not a feminine ideal. It rejects the social surveillance that requires all young women to be the same way. But if it were, it would be a backlash against a clean girl. Clean girl is a TikTok aesthetic. Followers wear their hair in slick buns, dress in pink, have 10 reusable cups lined next to each other. They all have pink yoga mats. They love being clean. They love opening their journal after a long day of Pilates. They love overconsumption. Clean girl buys 400 pair of leggings. Brat retaliation is that you wear the same dress every day for a month and don't shower. You can say it's environmental, but that's not really the heart of it. It's like, the world's gone to shit and climate is part of that, but you're having fun through it. That's kind of the attitude where music, if you wanted to go and make a political statement, yeah, that's something that you go and say. But that's the part of, like, if women just want to go ahead and just kind of slut it up, okay, so what? It's quite depraved and debaucherous, and I can appreciate the idea of going for that. And that, guys are going to be interested in every kind of girl there is out there. Obviously, the ones that are all well made up and this and that. But, we don't, there's quite a few guys that probably don't worry about high maintenance. And don't need a girl to go ahead and be pretty in pink and all dolled up as such. Well, we all know that women will dress up for themselves more than they're going to dress up for the guys. Unless they are influenced by the guys as to what they're looking for, what they'd like to see their women wear. Whoever they're dating, whoever they're with, they'd like to see that. I mean, I'm very simple. Don't need a whole lot of to do, right? Your hair down would be nice. Pair of ripped up jeans, a cute top, a t-shirt, whatever. And, I'm pretty much happy with that. Not a lot of makeup. Don't need it. In my personal opinion. Like, I just like things simple. And I think that's part of the thing is it is a bit simple for women just to kind of just feel like they want and feel empowered and feel like they want to just be who they want to be. That's okay too. Non-conformity, and it's not social media based. I like it. I like non-conformity. That's a good thing. Now, here's the thing they try to go ahead and put together in this Guardian article. They're trying to go ahead and tie together. So the mirror image of the clean girl is the pick-me girl, who affects an anti-feminine, carefree demeanor while, by coincidence, being extremely feminine and caring a lot. They say it's a mutation of classic Gen X doublespeak, where you're affected body positivity, but were in fact fat-phobic and had ladders in your tights, but in a hot Madonna-esque way, not a got locked out, have no money for new tights way. The brat is not interested in any of that. She has no fixed aesthetic because she doesn't consider her appearance to signify a static relationship with the world or on which she would be policed. It's unmistakably economic. The thing about being a clean girl is that it's really expensive performatively. So, see, they're trying to say that a pick-me girl is a clean girl like a traditional girl. I don't think it's that much either. Like, that's kind of taking away. I like just the fact that women could kind of just choose something else different than just being the girl that's like the modern woman that wants to go and be with a certain aesthetic and a certain look. And, why are you saying it's the pick-me girl? The clean girls are pick-me girls. No. Clean girls are a lot of women that are modern women, to be honest. So the fact of seeing this kind of idea of, no, we're not going to go so hard on it. We're going to go ahead and, we're going to dress it down. We're going to be more simple. We're going to have the Brat Summer. I get that part. And then they move along and say that, they try to say here in this Guardian article, which is being a little bit, sanctified and, whatever. They say that, the thing about a clean girl is that it's really expensive, performatively so. And the whole of self-care is a display activity. Your body and self-image is the ultimate Veblen good, or a luxury product which becomes more sought after as it becomes expensive. The female body as commodity is, of course, locked into the patriarchal idea of sex as a commodified exchange, so there's a tacit understanding that clean girls aren't promiscuous. But see, we see girls that might have the clean girl image that are very promiscuous, but for the right guy, the right size, the right bank account amount, and the right endowment size by inches. Casual sex becomes an indication of poor boundary setting and insufficient self-love, and old money, selling yourself too cheap. But there are a lot of women that are doing that right now. Like, I don't understand where this Guardian reporter is coming from with this, but that is what women are doing right now. So while wearing the strappy white top with no bra line emphatically doesn't mean we'll sleep with anyone, the brat has her own sexual destiny, which would loosely describe as sleeping with whoever she wants to. And here she has the roots in the Ladette, the new woman of the 90s. So I want to know what they're trying to say about this with the Ladette. So maybe I got to go and just ask good old Google Gemini to kind of explain that to me so I can understand this a little bit better. So I'm going to ask Gemini real quick and find out the answer. What was Ladette, the new woman of the 90s? And Google Gemini will answer and say, a term that emerged in the late 90s in the UK to describe a certain type of young woman who challenged traditional gender roles and expectations by her behavior, her attitude, and her fashion. So Ladettes often engage in activities that were traditionally considered masculine, drinking heavily, using coarse language, watching sports, being sexually assertive, loud, boisterous, and unapologetic about their lifestyle. Hey, there's some guys that like a girl at the bar that's like that. Attitude. Ladettes rejected the idea that women had to be quiet, polite, and submissive. They embraced their independence and confidence, and they weren't afraid to speak their minds or go after what they wanted. And fashion. Ladettes often adopted a tomboyish or sporty style, wearing baggy clothes, trainers, and baseball caps, eschewing traditional feminine attire like dresses and skirts. By the way, we're seeing a lot of women that are wearing like gym gear. It's kind of like the same idea, except it's just very more feminine looking. It just looks good on a woman. So the idea is that there were women that were trying to break down gender barriers and redefining what it was to be female. Okay, but look, there's women that can go ahead and have that kind of feeling and how they want to set themselves up. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. And I just think there's a couple of ways you can look at, all right, you got to understand that maybe there's a part of the sexual aspect and the sexual freedom that a woman has. I think that's fine. That's cool. Rock on. And if a woman wants to kind of like not put all the work into it because she just wants to be herself, that's okay too. Probably a lot of guys probably like that too. Kind of dress down a little more just natural, sure. But it's a thing in social media where it's counteracting what people are seeing out there about the women that are said to be clean. They also refer to Chaperone right now, who is giving herself her own version of a brat look. Not using either hiking boots or feather boas, but wouldn't be as loose as wear literally anything either. So reprising grunge, not trying to look invisible. So we're seeing that women are kind of trying to break away. And maybe there's a thing where, there's something wrong with women kind of just identifying themselves and just changing their feelings, how they want to look. Because with the guys out there, I'm sure they don't mind the fact that a woman wants to kind of identify in a different way, and she's still a woman. Great, fine, wonderful. That's okay. And I don't think there's anything wrong to go ahead and just say that, you know what, the Brat Summer, that's okay with me. I don't mind women that want to just kind of go their own direction and not be conformed to what is being shown on social media, that you have to have a certain beauty standards and all this stuff. Yeah, screw the beauty standards. That's fine. I don't need any woman to feel like they have to be pigeonholed, because that's what hurts women as well. So let women manifest their sexuality, enjoy their femininity as they want, but let them identify what feminine is to them. If it wants to be a little more masculine, more tomboyish, okay. But let a woman be the kind of woman she wants to be. I don't have a problem with that. Because we know right now that the Brat Summer is starting to pick up because of the album. And, for her, Vogue is actually talking about this. Vogue Business actually has a story about this. And they talk about that the Brat album has generated over $22 million of media impact value. And searches for items in Brat-style slime green have surged 17% in the last 2 weeks, according to global shopping platform List. And with Charli XCX, she has made quite a few designer brands very popular. So let's see, there's Bottega Veneta's Kelly Green, Valentino's PP Pink, and Gucci's Ancora Red. And that Charli XCX is taking complete ownership of a color that has an already ambient presence in modern life. And that the hue will feature heavily on the catwalks this September. Because that's what's going to happen. Just like how Barbie was a big thing 2 years ago. Now we're getting to the point of, oh, look, we got Brat. Hey, it's just a different change that comes across. And retailers are already starting to pick up right now. So, Flannels, the UK luxury retailer, has already put out a Brat green edit to buyers in the press. And there are pieces in the shade from brands like Balenciaga and Coperni. Kate Spade, a New York label, has already posted a Brat green starter pack on TikTok with products in its shade. And there are others, they're using beauty products and green products to kind of go along with the green aesthetic. And I think that's the thing I like so much about Charli XCX, is because of the fact that she's a pop artist, but she's not your conventional pop artist. She's kind of anti-pop. But I like artists, and I like people that entertain, that are disruptors. So like if you hear my media program, the Broadcasters Podcast, I talk about disruptors all the time. I love people that break the normal chain of how things are. I like disruption. That's good. It makes things interesting. It keeps things interesting. So when asked about the meaning of Brat, Charli XCX actually said to the TikTok series Off the Record, quote, "You're that girl who's a bit messy and loves to party and maybe says dumb things sometimes. She's honest, blunt, a little bit volatile. That's Brat." And there's quite a few women that feel like that. And, if women can be their own and they can find their own from following this trope, go for it. And for her, she's becoming a fashion mogul because of the fact of how many different luxury brands are now spending money to work with her, and how she's driven a lot of products because of her standards, because of her appeal. I mean, look, she is not your typical, runway model, whatever, but you know what? She is, in her very own way, very attractive, quite sexy, in my opinion, by the way. The way she comes across, she presents herself, the way her music comes across, there's just a coolness factor about her. And, she's only early 30s, and now she's in a relationship now, and, she's living her best life. Love it. And if women want to feel like they can just kind of go along with what they want to go and do with themselves, I like that part. Instead of being stuck on some beauty trope, I like individuality. And I don't want to have women that just feel like they can just follow some certain trend and fall like sheep to do the same thing. There's something about her message and what she's doing right now that means a lot that I look at, and I really can appreciate that. That's good stuff. I want to go ahead and give a shout out to Charli XCX. Like I said, I enjoy the album Brat. Go look for it if you haven't listened to it. It rocks. It's great. I love it. A few other stories I want to bring up before we wrap things up. And this is a story I wanted to bring up last week, but there were some changes that were coming up. There were some stories I had to go and talk about, and I think this is very important. Tinder now, in a desperate attempt to try to keep people to go onto their dating app and enjoy themselves on that said dating app, they're now creating movies, their own rom-coms for the dating app era. So now there's a new global campaign, It Starts With a Swipe. And the brand's trying to woo audiences who are disillusioned by dating apps and trying to challenge inaccurate perceptions of how romances should start, which could get in the way of real love and connection. So they've gone to the agency Mischief at No Fixed Address, and there are 3 new ads right now, basically little movies that have been set inspired by the first messages of real couples who met on Tinder. So I'm going to play one of these just so you can take a listen for yourself, and you tell me what you think about this and see if it works out for you or not. So we'll check this out for ourselves.
Hi.
Lady coming up on a ladder in a library.
Hey. Thanks for making my day with your haze.
What?
Typo, I meant face.
Read receipt.
Did I ruin it?
No, my mom just called. She says hi. Smirk emoji.
Meet cutes happen every day on Tinder. Just not like...
I don't know about that. So, yeah, they're going to just use the sample ads here to make people feel like, oh, this might be really cool. They're going to check out and see what if they're using the actual dialogue of first people talking on Tinder and using it in an ad. Interesting. Okay.
So what now? Birth charts, obviously. Leo Moon, Sag Sun, Sag Rising, Virgo Mercury, Pisces Mars. Exhale emoji. So hot.
Meet cutes happen every...
I don't know if I feel like that's really going to work, but, they can try all they want. It's fine. That's the second ad. I'm not necessarily impressed by this so far, but they're trying rom-com style. So let's check out what they're going to do next. This is the third ad that they have in their list, so let's see this now. Let's see what it does after all. In a text.
Do you believe in love at first sight?
IDK, shrug emoji. Do you?
I do now.
You said that already.
Sorry. Double send.
Or you just really meant it.
Oh, come on. I'll do the double send because I'm trying to go and do voice to text because I'm too lazy to go and, put my thumbs down to go ahead and write a text. So, I do that double send all the time. So, whatever. I'm not necessarily... No, they're trying to say that in the ads, they're trying to keep it awkward, on purpose. And this is Bianca Guillamares, who is executive creative director and partner at Mischief for the ad agency. They said, quote, ultimately, we want anyone watching this to see the Tinder sup as the equivalent of your dog knocking down a stranger you end up falling in love with. Yeah. They want to make it feel like, oh, if you're talking on here, it's going to feel like something out of a movie. Like you're going to be in Someone Like You. Like you're Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell. Come on. Or, Fly Me to the Moon like Scarlett Johansson and Channing Tatum. I saw that this weekend. I don't know if I really buy onto this too much. It looks pretty bad, but they'll try anything, right? What are you going to do? One more story I want to bring up that just came up this week. And from Psychology Today, the hidden impact of body shaming and self-objectification, which is a good tie into the Brat Summer topic we've talked about here. Body shaming has long-lasting implications for our mental health. It's not the only way of triggering self-objectification. And undoing plastic surgery is not just a matter of body acceptance, it's also about health. And I know that what happens a lot now these days, there are a lot of young girls I see out and about. So if I go to the mall, if I go out, shopping, I want to go just wherever. And if I see young women together, and I see a group of women together, and you can see there's like one girl that might be a little bit thicker than the others, and you can already tell, like, okay, she's not the kind of girl that wants to show her body, right? She's not going to be the kind of girl that puts herself in a two-piece bikini or showing off her stomach or anything like that, too much of it without showing the navel. Like there's that part where someone just don't feel comfortable to show their bodies because they have been body shamed. And that's the part where, look, I mean, for some people that say, okay, if a girl I see like on Instagram or I see out in public, if she has like 10, 20, 30 pounds extra on her, 40 pounds, whatever, So what? I mean, yeah, you want to be that critical of somebody that's like overly like not healthy, and you feel like, oh, because of the extra weight, there's guys that will go ahead and body shame because out of spite. We know that happens too. And researchers are finding the negative effects of body shaming and self-objectification on our mental health. And people who experience body shaming through bullying and people who self-objectify are statistically more likely to experience depression, anxiety, disordered eating, and other mental illnesses. Now, part of the thing is that, look, you're not going to convince anybody about their body, the shape of their body, and their weight by trying to say, oh, you need to lose weight, you look fat. Let me just tell you something. As a fat guy, still am, right? But I mean, I'm 120 pounds less. But I need to go and explain this real quickly. In my opinion, you're not going to change anybody's diet or change anybody's lifestyle or their weight until they have a reason to do it themselves. Okay? When I found that I was diagnosed diabetic, my wake-up call. That's all I needed. And trust me, that wake-up call, even that, I struggle a little bit every day because sometimes I forget. Right? But to keep myself around 300 pounds now, for what, 6 to 9 months so far, after being well over 410 pounds, 420 pounds, yeah, that sucks. And trust me, I felt the body shaming because I deserved it. But the thing is that there are women out there that, you know, I feel much more sensitive to. And again, I'm also the kind of guy that's much more attractive to girls who are a little bit thicker anyway. I've always like a curvier girl. That's always been my thing. And you know what? It screws things up for guys like me that want to be attracted and want to go ahead and approach women that are a little bit thicker. Because if they feel like they're less than, but they don't feel as pretty, they don't feel as beautiful, they don't feel sexy, they don't feel like they can wear anything they want, then it makes it harder for guys like me to empower them and to make them feel like they can wear anything they want and feel beautiful in how they look. Because the thing is that it's encouragement. If they find somebody good in their life that makes them improve themselves, that works. When you have a reason to improve yourself, if you have somebody that motivates you to improve yourself, right? And it's not because somebody else is trying to say, oh, you need to lose weight, you're fat. It doesn't work. When somebody loves themselves so much and they're happy with themselves, then they start to self-improve. Then they start doing the things that they want to do to make themselves even better than they are. So when I got myself down to a particular part of weight loss, you know what I wanted to do? I wanted to go and do more to get myself in better shape. So it's always not just the weight loss, but also maintenance. Taking care of yourself, taking care of the body you've been given, the body you've been blessed with. For more women out there, I want them to feel blessed in the body they were given. And make them feel beautiful for who they are. And look, by that alone, just by that validation, constantly, you know, reserve your thoughts about how you think a woman should go ahead and look like and how skinny she should look and how she should have these size tits or this size of an ass. You know what? Leave it. If you don't have anything good to say, don't say it. And it would be good that the women of this world feel better about themselves and how they look. Because I really think that's the best way to make a woman feel better about themselves. And then if they want to self-improve, they will. And let it be done on their own. They don't feel like they're being kind of pushed into any kind of direction. I would love that to be for women more often. I think that would be very important. You know what? This is where, in the same individuality of a woman going through a Brat Summer, she wants to be a little bit dressed down, a little bit sexually open, fooling around, having fun. Let the woman have the Brat Summer. Let her be depraved and debaucherous.